Today, we're going to talk about something very, very important. It's not going to be so technical, but maybe even more important, how to correctly spot your training partners. This one, we really commonly see one person's pretty attentive. You can see his stance on the bar over here, and the other one is not even in a position to spot, as you're about to see. Grab it. Unfortunately, we see that way too common. One person's in the position, I simply wasn't close enough. If we actually were missing a heavier load here, sub-max or maximal weight, that could have been really bad really quick. Brandon, let's look at a couple other examples of how the bench press goes wrong.
Yeah, so being a spotter back here, if you only have one spotter, there's a lot of different ways you can mess this up. There's a lot of frustrations I personally have with this specific position. So one of those examples is acting like you have the force, you can control this bar with your mind, and just doing something like this. What are you doing? Go ahead and, yeah, there we go. She's failing. I'm up here chilling. I don't have the force. This is real life, so I cannot do that, okay? Another one is just being way too far away, like just watching them with your mind. Moral support. Moral support is very important, don't get me wrong, but I don't want her to die. That's a little bit more important. So I'm not gonna do that either. Or my personal least favorite, and I won't make you do it this time because she's probably getting tired. My least favorite is something like this. Just supporting with your fingers. I get the idea. You want to show this person you're supporting as little as possible, but if she drops it, my fingers aren't strong. I mean, she benches, how much do you bench, Cassandra? Let's say 200 pounds. I bench 500 pounds. Kyle over here, 405 bencher. Now, my fingers cannot do any of those weights, okay? I want to be prepared to catch that barbell if all goes wrong. So I'm not gonna be supporting with my fingers. Heck no. I am going to be near the barbell and ready to catch it if the worst possible things happen. And that's the way I like to think about it. Worst comes to worst, the worst thing happens, you are ready to stop this person from getting hurt or injured. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have a philosophy for the longest time, unless that barbell is in my chest cavity, you are not gonna touch it. And there's some people that have that philosophy, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be ready to catch it if it does fall. So if she's actually bench pressing, give me one more, Cassandra, if you're not too tired, I am going to be here, under over grip. I can handle anything in case I fail, and I can be there to catch it. I'm not actually gonna touch it, I'm not gonna interrupt her bar path, but I'm there if she needs me, and I'm there just in case the worst possible scenario, which is very, very important.
I think it's just important to communicate with your training partner how many they're going to be doing, how hard is this for them going into the set. So just being prepared, lots of communication, even taking a step back and knowing if they're going to need an unrack.
I think that's a really, really key point. I've been watching a lot of videos online, and you may not have your regular training crew with you. You might have to borrow somebody from the gym you're at. And again, if you don't communicate clearly what you expect, maybe they've never side spotted before, or they haven't side spotted as much weight as you're gonna lift. It can be intimidating. They may not know what to do or wanna get that close to it. Being back here, you might have to educate them on how to be close. And as Brandon pointed out, it's about being underneath the bar so you can control it. Something like this, if it goes bad, you're not going to be able to grab it quick enough. This isn't inherently bad for lighter weights. The problem with a heavier weight, it's going to slip through my hands. So we don't have necessarily a one or only way to side spot. What we're saying is be attentive, communicate with the lifter, and the lifter needs to communicate with the spotters, and make sure you're in proximity if something goes wrong to actually grab that, secure the weight, and keep your lifter or your training partner safe. Let's throw this up and talk about some squats. So now, talking about the squat, you'll see some of the positions we just talked about once again. Brandon over there is going to be underneath the bar, ready to secure it, and me, as you'll commonly see, is just not in an optimal position to get there if she was to need me. So Brandon, go ahead and get under the bar. And we get her back in the rack. Just a little late. One of the other things I think is really important for the squat is some people with heavier weights get wobbles up at the top. I shouldn't be waiting way back here for my training partner to walk out their max. I should be attentive as they come out. So let's look at a couple other problems in the squat. I'm gonna talk through these before I have you demonstrate. Being way back here, if she walks out to there, I'm not close enough to grab her. That's not gonna work well for me. Go ahead and unrack and walk out, but do not squat. Now, this is a lighter weight. I can pick this up and reverse curl it, but holding here is not great for a back squat. If this was her max squat plus her body weight, I'm kind of strong, but I can't reverse curl that and pick that up. The other one is simply being too close. Now, I won't invade all of her space here, but if I'm touching against her, sorry as I poke you in the eye, you'll see that I'm already making body contact before she moves. I need to be attentive, but not so attentive that it's unprofessional for me as a coach, especially with a female client, right? I need to be there, but not so smothering that if she moves or wobbles in her squat, she doesn't run into me and then cause a fail. So let's see what we like. We like to be underneath the bar, not inhibiting elbows or knees, some distance away so she still has room to move, but I'm underneath the bar ready to secure it. Go ahead and squat. Underneath at all times, I can then help secure and walk us in the rack if I need to. I like the way Brandon said it. I'm simply not strong enough to pick up from here. And, as happened to me before, if I'm back here just watching, hopefully I'm not on Instagram, she's really not gonna like that, I'm simply not paying enough attention and close enough to assist in that squat. Brandon, anything to add there?
Yeah, so there's just a fine line. There's a balance between the two. Being there in case the worst happens and being there to actually save your lifting buddy there. But at the same time, you can't be so close that you're invading their space, or worse yet, affecting their movement patterns. Another one that I don't love to see in the bench press because of the movement pattern issue is when people just have their entire arms under the barbell as they're lifting weight. It's a pretty safe position. I'd like to think that people can zercher squat as much as their partner can bench there, but at the same time, that's likely going to affect my pattern. You're over the top of me, sweating on me, dripping on me, your arms are on both sides. It's gonna affect my pattern. It's gonna just not be the best thing to have in my vision as I'm pressing up. So there's a fine line here. We have to be close enough to take care of them in case the worst possible scenario happens, but at the same time, not be so close that you end up being a little creepy, invading some space, or just affecting their movement itself.
I think that really goes back to communication. Well, you have to communicate as an athlete, even with your experienced training partners, telling what to expect, what you're about to do, but they need to communicate back. On that point, anything to add?
We're good.